to take you through the basics. Check out this channel if you're really trying to make it. He got what you need, from brushes to grease. He even got the videos that teach the techniques.
Hello guys, and welcome to Another Level podcast, episode number 2. So we've got the gang right here. We've got the special guest, which is Leechay. So we're going to be talking about university and whether it's worth it or not. So how is everyone today? How is everyone doing? Everyone good?
Yes.
I'm doing good.
So in lockdown. Oh.
Yeah, how's quarantine going for you guys?
Going a bit insane, but I'm alright.
So with university, basically me, Melvin and Ahmad, we all did computer science, and then we went into information systems. Leechay, what did you do?
So spent the past 4 years in Bristol. I do computer science. I'm about to get my master's. I've literally spent my entire day doing my dis. This is the first break I've had so far, so I'm just happy to be here, you know.
It's a nice break, isn't it?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, no, it's been a trip. It's been good.
Like, what I want to talk about is, like, what was everyone's general experience with university? Like, how did we find it? Like, Melvin, how did you find university?
Well, what is it like? What I think what is it like from just initially just what you call like the concept of going university was like in the beginning I felt like I was rushed, like I was like I need to go, like because everyone else is going, because when it's like I don't know what else to do kind of thing, and like if I don't like go, something's gonna be bad basically. Yeah, something bad's gonna happen or something. So I picked initially when I was going to university, I was thinking of doing pharmacy, but then I did like work experience in pharmacy. Then realized, wait, I actually don't want to sit behind a counter and look at drugs all my life. And then I need to find some other course. Like, but I think that was a mistake again. Like I rushed. I legit just rushed it. I was like, you need to find something quick. There's no time left. I need to do, like my personal statement and like all that kind of stuff and like sending it out to uni. I was like, oh shoot, what do I like? I was like, okay, I love computers. Let me do computer science. Yeah. And but I think that was a big mistake. Like you should not go into university without like making sure it's 100% that you want to do, because it's the course that you're going to a course that you love, you know? Like you at least have to try it out like for like 2 months or something. Something you know what I'm trying to say. Like the thing is like university kind of sells it to you. They want more students to come in. They're gonna be like, yo, thing that you love. Yeah, exactly. So and that's what they're gonna do. And like I did that, and I had like you have your own like imagination of what you're going into. Yeah, so like I have this imagination. If you're a person that plays games and stuff, and even uses softwares in the computer and stuff, you're like, that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be doing that. What I'm loving. But then it's just a different perspective. And like in computer science, for example, it's like I never did computer science before in my A levels or anything. So going into it, I was like, it's mainly programming. It's mainly a lot of things that I didn't expect to do, and like. I felt like when I went into uni, initially I was like, I made a big mistake. What am I doing? You know? What am I doing here? And like, literally, I was like, that. I was like, the teachers were like, we should get this. Like, you should be able to make like a satellite tracking system by now. I'm like, literally, man. I just came in on the first month trying out Python programming, and you're like tracking system.
So Melvin, so what made you like choose computer science then?
No, I chose computer science because in my mind, like when I was like 8, 7 or something, because I came from India, in 2005, and it was like when I was in India, my dad took me because in India we have like IT training centers and stuff, so. Yeah, and there, like, I was learning Microsoft packages and everything, like, and initially I went with my dad because he was learning it, but then he saw I was picking it up, like, really quick as well. So like, oh my God, I loved it. I loved computer and, like, picking little things up and stuff. And then I went into, like, the Photoshop course as well to get certified in that as well. And then, I just had this insane passion for computers. And I just, in my mind, I was like, I think this is going to carry on to university as well. And I'm going to be around people who have the same love for computer that I have. But it was just like, like sometimes your mind plays a trick on you with what is reality and what is, what is reality. Yeah. And that's what basically happened to me. But I think like after that, like I made the best thing I did was change my course in information systems, I would say, and that did make a lot of difference for my uni experience. But it did go well after that. I'm gonna lie, because I started to prioritize being sociable and like actually take the essence of uni of like what is actually good, being, because the thing is that uni is not just about like like just putting your head down. But it's about the people you meet, and like the experience that you have, because the people you're with, they help you get through uni, and it's like going through hell with someone, and they're like, bro, we made it, we made it. We got out of hell, bro. We got out of hell. Did it, and that feeling like going through something like that, I think it creates like a long lasting bond with, and but you have to, I think you have to like look at yourself and like, am I at the same time like am I wasting my year here? Is it the right course for me? And you have to ask personal questions, and if you don't do that, like don't rush to uni, don't rush into uni like I did. That's not yeah.
Right. Okay, so what about you then, Leechay?
Well, like I've wanted to get to uni for ages, right? I kind of went to a little day trip thing when I was like in year 7, and it was like, oh, I get to do this, this, and this. Oh, I love doing this. What, you're saying that my subject can actually be fun? Okay, then. All right. So I spent most of my time in school, proper geeking it out, staying in the books, proper trying to grind for them grades. And when I finally got them, I had a bit of a big head at the time, not gonna lie to you. So I finally get there. I get to Bristol. I do a lot of research behind my stuff. I was semi-obsessed with university at the time. And when I actually got there, it's a different world. Like even the difference between what you're talking about, what I'm talking about, I took that time to do research into what I thought it was going to be like. And even then, like the difference is like, instead of me doing that, thinking, oh, I'm going to do programming and this and that, it was, oh, we're going to teach you algorithms from first principles. Instead of like learning Python or something simple, I spent my first year doing like C and Haskell and some ridiculous stuff. Right. I loved it because in the end, it was all the things that I kind of wanted to do. But at the same time, it was not in the way that I expected it. It's like when you get what you want, when you aspire to get something and when you actually get there, it's completely different, right? Right. And that is usually what kind of messes with people, especially when it comes to getting to that point. So for me, I would say that I've enjoyed my time at university. I liked it. And I guess like it didn't come in the way that I expected it to be. It's definitely not gone the way I've expected it to. Yeah. But looking back, things have ended up the way I have done. But that's because, like you said, I took that precaution. I spent ages looking at universities. I spent ages researching into, is this place for me? Do I see myself living here through the good, through the bad? Yeah. Can I make friends with these people who I have these kind of like similarities with or whatever? Is this the right place for me, both academically, spiritually, and mentally? So that's a really good point you touched on, Melvin, as well. And yeah, I think it's a thing that not a lot of people consider. It's kind of like, oh, I want to go to this place for this reason or that reason. But no, definitely. Like looking back, I don't think if I came to Bristol half-heartedly, I would have enjoyed it as much as I had done. If that makes sense.
Yeah, right. Yeah, definitely.
And I think the biggest problem is like, with me, how it was like, I thought university was the only way. So I jumped in straight away without like doing research. So like, I just thought, okay, I love computers, I love games, I'm going to go do computer science. And then I realized like, I didn't even enjoy doing it. Like I got like halfway through it and realized like, this ain't for me. And that's when I ended up going through like mental health problems, like during university. And like, I felt very, very lost. But like back then I felt like, like looking back now, I felt like I had to go through that to teach me a lesson. Like now I'm like in a good position right now where I'm actually running my own business. So like university isn't the only way to get to like where you want to be, if that makes sense. So, Iman, like, how was your experience with the university? How did you find it?
So I got into IT when I was about 4 or 5 years old. My first operating system was Windows 98, and from there I was
Shout out.
always in love of IT. Um, I didn't pick it as my GCSEs because back then I just found it kind of boring because there's more to do with like spreadsheets and stuff. But then when I got to college, I took a level 3 BTEC extended diploma IT course, and I did really enjoy it. I did quite lots of things. I did e-commerce. I did a bit of programming. It's pretty basic. It was like HTML, PHP. What else? I can't think right now. But yeah, that was quite a while back. And obviously, to be honest, I didn't go to university half-heartedly because I was kind of pushed by my parents. And when I did ask a lot of people, when I did get to university, when I joined into information system, they kind of were in the same position as me, where they didn't know what they wanted to do, so they thought.
Have we lost him? Come on, are you there? We lost his technical difficulty.
See, social distancing.
Yeah, we'll move it on anyway with the next question, which is like, cool. So like, do you like how I mentioned earlier when I talked about mental health and like dealing with my own mental health issues? Like, have you guys been through any sort of mental health issues during university during your time? Have any of you been through it? And like, what's your story?
I think a key thing is like that's not touched on, especially kind of like in more kind of research intensive universities, is like imposter syndrome is a massive thing. Like you don't realize that everyone who makes it to university has some aptitude or some affinity for something. You're a smart person if you can make it to university, regardless of where you go, right?
Yeah, 100%.
But you don't see that because all you see is the people around you. You're constantly surrounded by like-minded, smart people. So you, in tough times, you might devalue yourself. You might think to yourself, "Oh, I can't do this thing. I can't do that thing." But everyone's in the same boat. You see everyone else's highlight reel, but only you can see your downfall. So, especially doing a degree at computer science, where some people start off and they have lots of experience, and other people are fresh out. I didn't have no experience in coding. I was more like a mathematician essentially when I started out. So I downplayed myself a lot when I first started out going to university, and I was reluctant to try things out. It wasn't only until the end of first year and onwards where I actually threw myself into like hackathons and fun little things to do, because those were like free opportunities for me to mess up and then learn skills and then try and build different things. So yeah, no, but it's definitely real. Like, and that dare just play down to you, especially when normally you're used to getting like, say, like an A is usually like 80% or like 89%, because I need like 3 A's to get into Bristol, so that's like 80% plus on the dot, right? And then you go down to like trying to get a 2-1, which is usually around like 60%, whatever. And it might not seem like much, and like say, oh, you got the grades to go through, but the people who get into universities like Bristol, whatever, are used to seeing constant A star, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
So it plays in you, and you think, wait, now am I not good enough? What am I doing wrong? Why am I not reaching that same level that I used to be at? Like, getting 40% on the test wrong, that's supposed to be okay. Like, what's wrong with me? Like, am I not good enough for university? And you see the people who get it, and you don't see the struggles they've had to get through to get to the point that they are at, or even their talent, whatever. But you're using their good traits to misjudge yourself, and that's just a downward spiral. So a lot of the things that I've gone through is just accepting where I am and making those incremental steps, especially coming from Nottingham and going to a place like Bristol. But I would say that journey has made me more mature, and it's allowed me to think more pragmatically and grow as a result. So I wouldn't change it at all.
Yeah.
It is hard going through that.
100%. And like, I feel like as well for me, like the reason why I went through it is because it wasn't 100% my decision. Like, it wasn't like everything that, like, I was very influenced by other people, if that makes sense. I was influenced by my parents. Like, I felt like I had to do it. But then when I got there, like, I felt like a disconnect. Like, I felt out of place. This ain't me. Like, I don't actually enjoy this. But I kept going anyway because I was too scared to, like, go down a different path. And, like, if anyone's watching this podcast, I just wanted to show you guys, like, I'm running my own business at the moment. So, like, there's other paths as well that you can actually go down. So, like, you know, Melvin, like, have you been through any mental health issues at university? Like, what were your struggles with university?
Bro, absolutely. Loads of different, like the thing is, like, I went through, like, different, like, all sorts of different mental health, like, type of problems whilst I was in university. Like, you wouldn't even think, like, if you look back at me, like, who I'm right now, and, like, 2-3 years ago, I'm a completely different person. And I know, and I'm most people, like, you see me, and, like, my mom would agree as well. Like you come up to him like this, like, geeky guy, just with, like, a backpack and stuff, like a proper, like, like, hey guys.
You thought I was a road man. You thought the first day you met me, you thought I was a road man. I can't believe
Exactly. I'm like, yo, like, oh wow, I'm so smart. But then like,
No, but don't you love how, like, more three-dimensional, like, we get as we get older? Like, when you're a kid, you can be like, oh, that's the geeky kid, oh, that's the sporty kid, oh, they're that type of person, they're that type of person. But as people grow and mature, it's mad because, especially going to Bristol, everyone's a geeky person as well. So you go through a little identity crisis. It's like, back home, we're all just like that one geek in the class, right? Our whole thing is that we're the smartest one or whatever. But then you go to this other place and you're all the smartest ones. You got to find your place now. Well, what are you now? Where do you go from there? Do you know what I mean? And it's nice because that's what causes growth. You know what I mean?
Yeah. To be honest, I feel like at 18 years old, not many people know their identity anyway. So going to university is a big eye opener, ain't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, 100%. And you're super young as well. Like, even at 18, like, make a decision that big is like, you're still young. Like, 4 years ago, I was so different. Like, my views, my mindset, everything was so different. Like, so many things can actually change in 4 years. It's mad. Like, it's completely crazy. 4 years ago feels like it was a lifetime.
Yeah, but it's you just have to make that sometimes the decision. You know, I want to change, and that's what you got to do, because like I was such an introvert, like, you know, scared to, like, talk, like, to people, meet new people. Like, it's even just like, I don't know, there's a lot of things, like I said, what they call, like, insecurity, like, with, like, the people, imposter syndrome, like, with people being around me, and, like, but then, like, what I realized is, like, more and more, it's like I said, it's like you just gotta start, like, almost like loving who you are, kind of. Does that make sense? Like, like, yo, I love me because I'm me. Like, if you don't like me, then, like, I don't care, because I've got a lot of skills. Like, you're basically, what you're doing is, like understanding I got so many talents. Like, I got so many, like, skill sets in me. Like, I just need to unleash it so people kind of see, and, like, stop focusing on anyone else, basically. Yeah. And that's what I did. And, like, before that, I was just focusing on everyone else, and, like, my grades were going down and everything. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
Yeah, and then I just focused on myself, and, like, I just expressed, like, my creativity, who I am, and it just started going well. But yeah.
To be honest, I feel like first year is a year where you start and you don't really know what you're doing. You don't know what buildings you're going into uni, and also you don't know if you're on the right course. I know when I met Simeon and Melvin, it's kind of crazy because it was we was all in that same circle, didn't have no programming knowledge, and it was like, well, what do we do from here? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, so cool. So, like, moving on, like, with the questions, like, what was the biggest thing that you actually took away from uni? Like, what's the biggest lesson you've learned, guys? So I'm going to start with Melvin. Like, what's the biggest lesson you've ever learned through uni?
I think, like I said, the biggest lesson I learned from uni was, like I said before, was, like, just basically, like university basically helped. Like, you know how we said before, like, university might be bad, like, to a certain extent, like, and, like I said, don't rush it and stuff. But for some people, it might also be a place to find out who you are. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, if you going through the pain of uni, sometimes brings out yo, this isn't me, you know, but this is me. Like, I think that was what kind of like resonated from university. It like capturing like the fact that like it forces you to come out of your shell sometimes if you let it happen. And but I like not see as like I'm going to university just for the course. And that's what I learned. Like, and at the same time, like just stop focusing on security. University is most probably not going to give you security because that's not what.
Yeah, security is a myth.
Yeah, security is a myth. Exactly. So you're going, if you're going to university, just go for just finding yourself. That's what I was just say. If you want to do that, because and if you have no idea, it's a good path. Like kind of, but there's other paths, like you said, and that's the biggest lesson I had basically. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Obviously, Leechay, you're still at university, but like, what have you learned from university? What's it taught you about life?
Whoa. We're at uni for like what? 3-4 years, 3 if you're in a bachelor's, 4 if you're in a master's, even more if you're doing like a medicine degree or whatever. But like, that's a set amount of time. You can go to uni, you do what you're told, and you can do whatever, right? And you can get the minimum amount of university and you see it as a fleeting memory, right? You can, in 1 year, make the most of that time. It fully tells you that like time is truly limited because that's your final transition from kind of like pseudo adulthood to actually being in the real world. You're not in the real world until you're done with education and you're working 9 to 5 constant, right? So what do you do with that time? How are you going to progress? It's down on you. Like it's the final kind of transition into life, and there's not a lot of time you have left, so you should make the most of all the time and the opportunities that you're given to you, you know.
Mm-hmm.
In my case especially, I've just kind of, especially these past few months as well, like most people are kind of just like, you know, not trying to get by, and that's fine, everyone's taking everything as they come, but like with this opportunity, with this, in every situation you have, there is opportunity, and it's down to you to make the most of that opportunity.
Yeah,
you know?
100%.
And that applies to everything. And if you can master that, then you can be more adaptable, especially even in a situation like this. I'm trying my best to be as kind of adaptable to the current situations I can, trying as many new things as I can. I'm crap at public speaking, and here I am. So
Yeah, we're all here to.
Yeah,
like,
we
you know,
were all,
like,
100%. Yeah, it's
yeah,
just
you know what I
skill.
mean.
Like,
So,
yeah,
but you
like
learn through failing, and
exactly.
and like
Hundred.
CS is quite ruthless in the sense that it's the one degree that you spend 99% of your time being wrong at. So
yeah,
like
literally.
literally you learn through the error messages that you get in your term.
Yeah.
So like, is that transition, accepting where you are and slowly, iteratively going through that process of bettering yourself is the most important thing I would say that I've taken from university. And actually taking L's and whatever is just the first step. It is not the final step. It's only the final step if you choose to stop. If you keep going, there is a wealth of knowledge yet for you to acquire, and you come out of that much better than you ever could imagine. That's it, right?
Yeah, got you. Aman, what about you? Like, what's the biggest thing you've taken away from uni? Like, what's your biggest lesson that you've applied to life?
Like, I would say, like, don't be scared if you still, like, don't know what you want to do in university. Like,
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Like,
Yeah.
for example, I think we all went through that phase where we had an exam at the end of the year. We wasn't happy with it. And either in the first year, second year, we thought about, should we leave uni or whatever. Like, for example, Simeon, he's graduated from information systems, but that didn't stop him from doing what he wants to do and what he's enjoying right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you can always divert from like what do we want to do, and even if you feel like if you want to quit uni, if it's the right thing, like sometimes if it feels right, you have to quit uni. I'm trying to say, if you see an opportunity, do it. But like, yeah, as well, because I've like thought about a couple of times, should I quit university as well? But like, you got to ask yourself these questions. You know, what is most important to you? Like, it centers around you in the end with all these things, and that's why you got to ask yourself these questions. But yeah.
Yeah, I think university is a great environment to find yourself. Like, that's what I felt like it was, because like when I got to second year of computer science, I was actually considering dropping out completely. But at the time, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. like fully. Like I had no idea. I didn't know about entrepreneurship. I didn't know about anything. And like at the time, my only option was to go work at a factory, and I did not want to work at a factory. Like I didn't want to do that life. So I still stayed at uni, and I used that time to kind of like explore and see like what I've wanted to do. And then I found out like what I actually wanted to do. I was lucky in that sense that I found out what I wanted to do in the end, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So like, guys, if you could go back and change anything, what would you change about the uni experience? Like, what would you change if you could go back?
I would socialize more, 100%. That's
Yeah, definitely. I was going to say that's Melvin.
Yeah.
I wish that I was staying in accommodations, and I was just because what for me, and I feel like it's the same for both Simon and Melvin. But for me, it kind of felt like school, where you just get up, catch a bus to university, go to your lectures, and you don't really have time for your friends and that.
No. Yeah, and the hours are even less. You only have like one lecture, like a day or something, or like 2 hours. Which is like sometimes like stupid. Why did I even go to university? But like, but like I guess every uni has like different hours as well. But it's just yeah.
It's interesting to hear about university from a commuting point of view, because I went and moved into halls and into a different city and everything. So yeah, it's been really insightful to hear kind of like your takes and experiences on it. But if there's one thing that I would change, I don't know if I would change anything, in the sense that if I did change anything, I wouldn't be the same person that I was to be able to make the reflection that I can now. And I can't guarantee that I'd make the same growth that I've done to reach this point. It's easy in the short run to think, if I had this thing, then I would be at this point better. But at what cost? I would still have to learn the life lessons in the future. And I might lose something greater because it's in the future. Yeah. You can have talent that takes you places that your character can't keep you. So it's always better to build your character before your talent takes you somewhere where you could potentially crash. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I would say, I don't think I would change anything, despite what I've been through or whatever.
Yeah. I think I'm the same as well, to be fair. Yeah, so I totally agree with Leechay with what he's saying in terms of like, if we were to actually change anything, we'd make different mistakes. And like, that's the main lesson here, guys. It's like, we learn from failures and we learn from mistakes. So now I'm going to go on to the massive question for you guys. Is university worth it? At the end of the day, it's 40 grand. Is it truly worth it? What do you guys think?
Mine was 27 grand, by the way.
13K is a lot of money, to be fair.
Yeah.
It still is, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's a ballpark figure. Like, I think it was 40 grand. I don't even remember how much. I think it was 9K, then plus, what do you call it? The other loan as well? The maintenance.
Don't make me think about it.
Bro, I don't remember.
The maintenance loan is going to go over. It's going to go over 27K.
I don't actually remember how much.
That's just your tuition fee. Then if you get the max maintenance loan every year, you're doubling that.
Yeah, you are.
So like, but yeah, I'll start because I probably have the most controversial opinion, and I would be the one to be like, yes, university is definitely worth it. But here was my philosophy behind it, right? So you pay the same amount regardless of where you go. Like the only difference you pay is based on the city that you're based in, right? So the way I saw it was growing up and working through is getting to the best place I possibly could that provides the most opportunities for me, so I get the most for my money, right? So that covers that aspect. Then second, it's down based to like what I want to. So like we spoke about, what do we want to do at university? How do we want to make use of our time at university, right? There are many other things you can do in the 4 years that you're there. And the richer your university, especially, the more things you can do. Like, I know a lot of people who have gone to like the Olympics from sports clubs or whatever, people who have like gone forward and made businesses and whatnot from societies and made that their kind of career standpoint. There are many other opportunities where you can thrive. I just believe that university is an environment for you to safely fail in as a young adult before you go out into the big world, as well as kind of getting the safety net that is student finance, which is probably the safest form of debt you will ever receive in your life. So like, looking into things, it gives people 4 years to experiment, try new things without risk, but also open up and kind of like pursue the things they want to do. If university isn't fully for them, they can pursue a subject that they enjoy that's related to their hobbies and passion. But then in terms of what they actually want to do, they can put more of the time, the dedication into a business, into a society. There are many other things that people need to do, but it comes down to how do we make use of our time? One of the main things in university is that you never get that much free time again. Whereas if you were working, if you're doing other things, you have to support yourself, then you have to try and support yourself and in your spare time do that. But if you were doing a degree, whilst yes, it would be kind of daunting, you'd have more time to work on yourself whilst doing your degree. And especially in first year, where it usually doesn't count towards your degree unless you're doing like medicine and law, you actually have that flexibility in your first year to kind of work at like a pass rate or whatever, and then focus on your things. Not saying that that's what you might want to do, always try and do the best you can, but like that flexibility is there for you to explore yourself and see what you want to do. It's down to how you make use of the time at university, because there are bare facilities. There's so many things that you can do to make use of it. It's down to how people attempt to do that. Very few people actually make use of those facilities. That's the issue, you know? And it's more about making use of that time, making use of what's available to you before it's too late.
No, I definitely agree there in terms of like, it gives you kind of a safe environment to fail in. Like that was the main point I took from that, because like, it's kind of like a trial run of life. Like it's not the full experience. Like life, the real world is so different, like compared to university, but it gives you kind of a trial run, and like, it's kind of like a trial version of it, if that makes sense. So Melvin, what do you think? Do you think university is truly worth it?
Okay, if I was going to say, I'm going to say like kind of internationally, if that's okay. Like if it's worth it. Like within the UK, I think, like I said before, like within the UK, I think it's 100% worth it if you think it's the right thing. Like if you took your time to decide, and not just rushed into it like I did in the last minute, Because the thing is, when you're what age would you reach going to university? Like 18? 18?
Yeah, 18. Yeah.
When you're going to 18, like a decision like that is not, I don't think, like specifically, like especially like something that involves money, like it's something that you should give to a person at that age, and that's why you need time. I think you need a kind of a time. But imagine if you're in America, you're kind of like pushed into this university kind of movement. And you're saying it's risk-free, but it's not actually risk-free in America. You have to...
And the amount you get charged as well. Like, you get charged to send your application off. You can get charged to get rejected by everyone. Like,
really?
Literally, like, it costs money to send an application to a single American uni. So if you apply to a bunch of them and get rejected by all of them, you've just put how much money for what?
Oh, my God.
No.
This is what I'm trying to say. Like, go on. Go.
Yeah, I heard. Have you guys heard of Dave Ramsey? So, like, he does a financial show. Have you ever heard of him?
No.
Basically, a guy comes on his show, and he's a million in student debt. He managed to rack up $1 million in student debt. In America, you can rack up loads of debt, and you have to pay it off.
Yeah, exactly. And you become like slave to that system. Like, you know what I'm trying to, like, imagine they're basically training you to be like, yo, you're my slave. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, you got like this, like this is like, I've kind of trapped you in this, and there's no way out until you pay it off. And that's the thing. Like in UK, they don't necessarily have it. It's like, I think it's the system of like finance is kind of good, done in a very good way, because it's a balance between free and not free. Does that make sense? Because if it's free, there's no value. It's worthless. It starts to become worthless. But it doesn't do that. And I think in that perspective, like, I think 100%, what do you call it? Like in the UK, like to try things, and like I said, like, is this you? Again, you have to ask yourself first, like at young age, like who you are and what you want to, like, you know, what value you want to like provide to the community. That's what you can ask yourself, like, what resonates you? And if it's not what other people are telling you, then no. Because the thing is, like, also with like degrees like computer science, like you could have we mentioned this before, like and we were talking, not within the call, but like you can do a boot camp, for example. Yeah, you can do like a course, like with other people for like, you know, like 3 months or something, and just do it for like, you know, $5,000 or something, and still like get into these companies, like, and there's so many different ways to get into the IT industry if you want to go into the IT industry. And that's the same for all these different other courses, like, as well, like this, not like other courses, how do they say it? That's like non-research or like non-professional courses like law, medicine. You know, there's many paths into going into it. Like, you don't need to go like exactly like to university if you don't want to, like, if you do photography, for example. But then, like, overall, in the UK, I think it's good. But then, like if you're going for, like I said, for security to get a job, like university is becoming outdated at this point. Like, even like the job industry is like they're skeptical about it. So they even they're like, because of like, you know, there's I don't know if you guys heard about the grade inflation that's going on. Like, there's more people getting firsts because universities are pressured to give higher grades, like higher first, and like more grades. And like, if you look at the stats, like more people are getting higher grades like within like 2018 to 19, and like I don't know about 2019-20, but like, because this makes it like more and more the degrees more worthless. If that makes sense. And
that's really interesting because, and this is me being as little prestige or whatever as possible, but the Russell Group side of things, we're really abstracted away from all these fundamental issues that everyone kind of goes through. There is more of the issue of that, like the places that you do go to just won't accept anyone without prestige unless they do have a first. So I can imagine a trickle down effect is quite bad for most of universities, but that, like, it's been very rare that I've been at university and I've heard that issue. So it's very interesting to kind of hear how it's actually affecting everyone else.
Yeah, I don't know if like if it's, but I think like the thing is like the university needs to keep up with the time. It's not keeping up, you know. Like, I think like if it keeps up, it's more worth it. Like, it just needs to keep up, like, because right now it's more about not about like, you know, like, who can follow orders, who can finish tasks on time. It's more about like who can be creative, innovative, you know, take be assertive, be like take stand and like, but make your opinions clearly be heard. Like, you know, oh no, I got an idea. Not stand out at the back, be shy, and like, you know, like communicate with the team, work well, and like it's that kind of feeling that, you know, like more and more universities need to push to, like if they want to, like if you're pushing towards jobs and stuff. But yeah, like I said, in university is overworked in UK, but like especially if you want to find yourself and stuff. But like, take your time to find it. Like if it's the right thing to do. But yeah, that's it for me.
Right. But in
Melvin,
yeah.
Like, wouldn't you say that's entrepreneurship though?
What?
Like the way you just explained that. So by being creative, innovative, isn't that entrepreneurship? Like,
No.
I feel like uni's kind of an environment for a job, like for someone.
But that's what I said. Jobs don't want that anymore. See me, like, because I've been to like, a lot of interviews as well, like, and they don't want that person, that robot anymore. Like, they know they want like an entrepreneur kind of like mindset, like person who wants to grow, you know, who wants to like always chip in and like be, oh no, like I got an idea, like, and like I'm ready to do this, like to take charge, not be standing at the back. Like, they don't want a factory worker anymore. It's not, we're in the factory industry anymore. We're moving away. You know, AI is coming in. AI is taking over all the like the little tasks and stuff. Like, so I don't understand. Like, we have to be more and more human, which is, but the thing is, entrepreneurship is like, it is actually what, like, human. Like, we're supposed to use our creativity, like, and like, you know, like use our humanity to help people around ourselves and the world. Yeah, but yeah, I'm on. Like, yeah.
Yeah. So what would you choose then?
Huh?
Like, so comparing entrepreneurship to a job, like if you're saying like they're both similar, if that makes sense, like if they're both similar, like doesn't it make sense to start your own business?
No,
I feel like we're looking at this too kind of kind of concretely. I feel like it's more like on a spectrum rather than it's either job or entrepreneurship. I feel like the kind of characteristics where both of which overlap quite a lot, and I feel like in today's kind of interpersonal world, that is happening more and more often. I feel like that's the kind of point we're trying to get across. I feel like the only times where you're going to get that very classical thought process is law or medicine. I mean, everything else is changing. There's been a boom in startups. The startup culture is huge. There's a massive startup culture in Bristol, for instance. And personally, I know for me, I would probably end up working for either a startup or for my own company, or as in a high position of another startup in my later years, but then make use of these kind of big conglomerates early on, if that makes sense. I don't see these kind of structures lasting for too long, because as we've noticed in the climate today, it is the people with those entrepreneurial skill sets that are thriving. And remote work is becoming much more common nowadays. And I imagine in the future, it will also become more common. The ability to adapt to different environments and be able to use these characteristics in our current roles is the difference between places that survive and places that don't. It's just natural selection on an employment scale.
Okay, yeah, that actually does make sense when you kind of explain it on a spectrum, because that's how I was kind of thinking, it's either entrepreneurship or a job, but obviously things are changing, like you said, like we're moving to a completely different world, like with all of this. So, Aman, like, what do you think? Is university actually worth it?
Well, I feel like it depends on the individual. Me personally, if I weigh out the pros and the cons, pros, I would say socially, it's a great place to be. If you want to join society, if you want to meet people that have the similar quality of traits as you, I think university is a place you want to be. But say with job careers and stuff like that, it's a hard one, because when you come out in the real world, it's a lot different of the way they teach you in university. Especially that now that me personally, I right now I'm in a technical support job. Before that, I was in the software support engineer working with trains all around the country and stuff. I did leave that job quite early, and unfortunately, when I do apply for quite a lot of jobs, they are asking for experiences, which is pretty annoying, because all the specifications that they put out on their CVs or whatever, I'm able to do, but university don't really give you that experience. They kind of teach you at a fundamental level. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
100%.
It's hard to get jobs with literally it's like what they teach you in university, it's not enough for you to get a job. That's what I'm on saying. They don't prepare you for the job.
The real world, yeah.
The real world, yeah, exactly. They don't. They actually don't, and they're trying, but they're not doing a good job.
But then also, I feel like it depends on what you want to do. I feel like if you want to do chemistry, I feel like university is the way forward. I think something like IT, I don't know. You could possibly go through another route or path, or something.
Yeah, there is other courses online you can go through, exactly. I think as well, but you have to look at characteristics. Leechay, he loves research and stuff, and I think he likes putting his head down. I think and I think that kind of personality is really good for university. I think 100%.
I mean, I've hated the past 12 hours that I've spent putting into research my ethics today. I absolutely despised it. It just had to be done. No, one of the primary reasons why I chose Bristol was because for computer science, it was much more practical than most places, which meant that I could add little bits and pieces to my CV with every coursework that I did. In first year, I had a pair programming project that in Java, which used object-oriented principles, we learned design patterns and a lot. First year, so I could say that I had actually taken part and done something that I'd actually use in industry. Second year, I'm working with a client, and we're doing UML diagrams a lot with sprints and everything, and things that I'm actually going to use. And I feel like there is a disconnect between select universities and most of them. And I feel like my advice as well, and I'm kind of sidelining a little bit, is this is all the more reason why people should really focus on the university they want to go to, because as you know, if you pick the right university, they will give you the right skill set. There is a skill disparity between the top universities and everywhere else. This gap is closing as time goes by, but the issue is there are a lot of people who aren't going by the skill sets that are available, and then there's in my case, like, we don't get told there's not a thing in jobs. I generally get told, oh, due to COVID situation, oh, it's fine, you're from Bristol. Even if you get a 2-2 of a master's, you'll be fine because it's a Bristol degree, right? You know what I mean? So, like, the difference is kind of like, make the most of what you do, and just kind of be aware of the decision you make before you choose the university you want to go to, and look as far ahead as you can. Even ask as far as like career stuff and that. Like, I was in first year and I was still going to careers fairs and stuff to kind of get an idea of,
exactly.
What should I work into? What should I build myself on? And I'm in first year, but tell me, because then even if I don't work on it till later, I've made the effort. I've paved the path for me to walk, and it's down to me whether or not to walk towards that. And I do feel like there should be more kind of a collaboration between other universities to build everyone else up, because it's not fair that other people have these skills and other people don't, because people are saying two separate things about universities, and I could just say, oh, go to a better uni, but life isn't that simple. Life doesn't work that way. And if I had this conversation 4 years ago, I would have just been like, well, work harder and go to a better uni. But that's very shallow-minded.
But I think, like, I think personally it is actually ridiculous. If you want to get a job, like, it's kind of like, in especially in IT, like, from my perspective, it's kind of straightforward. But like, it's what you got to do is you got to show commitment in one specific area, and that's it. Like, you have to be like, yo, I want to be web developer. Okay, what kind of web developer? Like what have you made? You know what I'm trying to say? So if you're gonna like focus on that, and like, if you did something and if you put it on like GitHub, for example, they do like take that into account. Like, I've seen, like, like people who've not gone to university, like, and who've actually gotten jobs just because they've taken their time, like, to actually sit down, because they know it's their passion to do this, and they put their time in to make a product. And that's the most important thing. Like, is it your passion to do this? Can you sit down and do this without someone else telling you to do it? And like I said, like, can you focus on a specific area, and like, can you get an experience in it without someone else telling you to? And initially, people will see that, because computer science, information systems, like all these other, a lot of the degrees, like every degree, like it really gives you like a broad idea of what everything is. But you have to specialize. Like, you have to be like, yo, I want this, I want to do this, and then like build more and more portfolio up for it. But then if you want a job, you have to do that. Like, but for me specifically right now, I'm trying to find out that specific area. That's why I haven't got that, you know. And you have to tunnel in on one area. I love web development. Go into web development, or I like, like AI, or like something like that. Just go into that, or like Android, like programming. Like, but it's you, like for example, Simeon, he loves personal training. He loves gym, and he focuses, like, just pick one thing and stick to it. That's the main thing. Like, and if you pick one thing and stick to it, like, you build that skill in that one area, then people want you. Like, if you just go around everywhere, like, that's what's part with me. I'm trying to find that one thing and stick to it at the moment. Yeah.
Okay, why don't you like? Well, what do you like? Like, what are your hobbies, or what do you like? The minus thing, like, what's your favorite food or whatever, like, or
the thing, like, I'm like a generalist, like, I try, like, I'm open, I'm very flexible, and I'm open to try a lot of things, and I'm just like very flexible at the moment. But like, and this is kind of like leading me to a path, like, my mind is saying, oh, I want to do IT, like, just for the sake of like saving up as an investment. Like, I do IT with a passion, like, kind of, but same time I want to like branch out. I was thinking that I get bored with things. Right?
Yeah, well then in that case, why don't you pick that trait? So your trait, that is your passion. Your passion is you like to be versatile. You like to be kind of like the Swiss Army knife of whatever you're doing. So then build your thing around that. So find out one thing you like, build that, and then learn skills that you need to get by. Don't think about what you need to do. Don't think about what you know and don't know. Find one thing that you like, do it, that you like, do that thing, and then incrementally build onto that and add that until you make something, and then build onto that and keep going. I like Minesweeper. Like, it's just a good way for me to waste time. I pick this thing. I waste time. I played the game for a bit. I'm like, you know what would be cool if I had my own Minesweeper, because then after I can say it's mine, I make that. I try. Oh, what languages do I use? Oh, I don't know. What would be cool to have? Oh, I've never done a web thing before. I'll try it out just for fun, and then at that, check what I need to know. Instead of thinking what do I need to know first, think what would I like to do? Because if you base it on what you like to do and your interests and what's your passion, it comes natural. And you don't worry and think about, oh, what's fun, or oh, this is long, or this is hard. I would not have spent 12 hours doing my ethics if it wasn't in something I was interested in.
That is very true.
It makes everything so much easier and so much more rewarding as well. Plus, you get to just mess about with it after. I made battleships in first year, and the amount of hours I spent in lectures playing the game that I made in lectures because I enjoyed it. It was fun, and that was my coursework. I got to play my coursework in my future lessons, and it was something I made. I nurtured it. You know what I mean? Yeah. There's a newfound appreciation of watching that process grow with something that you like.
Yeah, just don't pick Minesweeper.
Or maths game.
So, Leechay, I just want to ask you,
Go on.
what are you looking to do after your course then?
Okay. So right now I'm doing a HCI-based dissertation, and I've had a bit of fun with that. I've applied to a few startups for interns as an internship position.
Right.
Because then I get a taste of multiple different kind of strands of what I want to do. I won't just be doing the code. I might get an idea of startup kind of atmosphere and what it's like. I'm going to be looking for software development roles. But I'm going to take a seat back. I've spent 22 years rushing, grinding, trying to get top grades, whatever, all that stuff. And these 4 years have taught me that it's time to take a step back, look at the bigger picture, and think, recalculate, where do I want to be, what do I want to do, what are my next goals and steps. And I kind of just want to do it kind of get my work, enjoy the fact that I've spent this time in education and I've got to the point I want to be, and maybe build a few side hustles on the side too. Build a portfolio site, I might build some websites for people and stuff or whatever. Maybe I might want to try a new thing out. I thought of a thing yesterday, right? Maybe I might want to do an AI for something, or a computer vision that identifies the food I have in my fridge. You know what I mean? It sounds pointless. There might not be any uses, but I'm doing it because it might be fun and make my life easier. And I learn skills. I can put that on my CV. I might get a thing, right, where I used to watch Pokemon as a kid, right? Yeah. And I've been looking at computer vision stuff. I was thinking maybe if you had an AI that identified the Pokemon on a screen. So if you put the theme on and it identifies the Pokemon on the screen, this technology is used a lot for identifying animals and cars and stuff. And self-driving cars use this kind of.
Yeah.
So we're doing a similar thing with Pokemon and using that to build my computer vision kind of skills or whatever like that. As a way for me to then practice that in a way that would entertain me, and I'll be like, oh, this is kind of funny stuff. And then after I do that, then I can build on applying that to something useful. Because if I've done it with something else before, I can look back and be like, I made these things, these are fun, this is personalized for me. I feel more attached to it. And it's easy to explain that to an employer as well, because then you can tell I've put my heart and soul into that. You know what I mean? It sounds stupid, it sounds childish as hell. But do you know what I mean?
No, it's like in Pokemon, there's a Pokemon Finder thing, and it's like, what is this Pokemon?
Yeah, no, exactly. But instead, a computer that does that. I'm actually going to try and make that this summer. When I'm done with this next month, I'm going to try and make a computer vision thing that identifies the first 151 Pokemon. It's going to be solid because I don't know any of it, but But yeah, no, I'm just going to try new things. I'm going to try and do my own stuff and maybe see if I can build a few side hustles along the way and just take a step back and appreciate how far I've came, because people either work too hard and they don't get time to appreciate the achievements they've made, or people are stuck trying to reach that part and they beat themselves up. And I've been on both sides of the ziplock, so I want to kind of,
right,
relax.
And you sorry, Alicia, you're learning another language, aren't you?
I've done Japanese for 3 years, but I am kind of rusty because this 4th year I've just been doing CS stuff.
Right.
I have a
Arigato?
basic.
What?
Arigato gozaimasu.
Oh, what is that? What? Thank you.
But thank you very much. But a gozaimasu
Oh.
is usually used as more of respect.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I respect you.
No, it's just more like they're very respectful people, and like
Oh, okay.
usually you would naturally be more respectful.
Oh,
So
okay, that makes sense.
arigato is like very formal, but arigato gozaimasu is kind of commonplace because.
Okay.
What should a
Awesome.
Japanese person in the comments be like? This person doesn't know what they're talking about.
Awesome. So it's quite interesting, like seeing all of your opinions. So we've got 2 yeses, and Amar said it depends. Now, for me, like coming from an entrepreneurship background, and like I have my own company now. For me, like I'm gonna go against grain. I'm gonna say absolutely not. Like right now, if I was to go back and I had to pick again, I would not choose university at all. However, if it was me back then, if I was the character back then, I needed to go through all those challenges to become who I am today. So I feel like, yes, if it was, like if I was that person back then, but if it was me right now, absolutely not, because university doesn't really teach you anything. It's not for entrepreneurs. Like I just feel like I'm wired like an entrepreneur. Like I feel like it's just the natural me. It's just me. And like, yeah, just like with university, it's like it doesn't really teach you what you need to kind of start your own company. Like even with business degrees as well, they don't really teach you how to run a business, the intricacies like lead gen, closing, all of those skills. So that's what I think, guys, personally.
Yeah, no, I think that's true. It's like for what you want to become, like university is not a good place because university always supports university itself. That's what I've noticed. Like, okay, if you're going to go to like GCSE, if I was to basically take like GCSE maths for example, people ask like, when am I gonna use algebra? I'm not gonna use algebra in my life. Like a lot of people are like, when am I gonna use algebra? But then like you might use algebra when you go to like computer science and stuff like that. But then like then you go to A level. Then you use A-level mathematics, Alicia was saying. You use that there. You use algebra there. But then when you go to do degree like specialize in mathematics again, you use like more of the algebra there again. So and then you in the end when you get to the top of all of this, you can research your own formulas and stuff like that. Like bring up your own theories and stuff. Like if you get to that PhD kind of level, which is again like supporting the university. So it's a structure that supports university. So the university papers, so business, they're gonna do studies on like what works in a company. Like, oh, how does big data, artificial intelligence, how does it help a company? Oh, whoa, wait, artificial intelligence helps a company become more dynamic, like versatile, like it helps it like be more flexible. And that's it gives you more and more like feedback, like in supporting research papers and like how to become a research person. I think in the end of the day, but yeah.
So Simeon, do you I forgot what I was going to say. So what about like the business modules we're done in information systems? Haven't you incorporated any of those ideas into your business, such as like KPIs? Like, yeah.
Not really, no. Like I have my own CRM, so if you guys don't know what that means, as a customer relationship management system, we actually have our own, which basically manages. It's pretty cool, but it wasn't made by me. It was made by my business mentor. So my business mentor made it like a custom relationship management, and it was pretty cool. So that's what I kind of used for my degree, but I didn't really use much of my degree, to be honest. Like with business, I just felt like it didn't teach me the fundamentals. Like when I came into business, the fundamentals were, again, like I said, lead gen, getting lead nurture, and then actually closing the deal. Like they're like the 3 main bits. But like university didn't really teach me that. I don't know. It was like it taught you how to do a job. I felt personally.
Yeah, yeah.
But do you think you're ever gonna incorporate, I don't know, like making your own website for your business?
I already do have a website in a sense. I don't use a website. We actually use funnels. So have you ever heard of a funnel?
No.
No, so basically what a funnel is like, you should Google it, is ClickFunnels. And basically what it is, it's just like you just go through the pages in one click. It's very easy to use. So I don't have a website. I just basically put all my offers onto like a funnel, if that makes sense.
Okay, right.
And it takes you to like a web page where like you can like look through a finished portfolio most probably. I don't know. But yeah.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. All my testimonials, all that stuff. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Right. Anyway, guys, so what we'll do is we'll wrap that up because like we've got 5 more minutes before the Zoom call like completely cuts off again. But we'll pretty much wrap it up with there. So is university worth it? Like concluding with everyone's viewpoint, like you've got to make sure that like you know what you want to do. If you know what you want to do, if you want to start your own business anyway. Like just do it. Like university isn't going to help with that. But if you want to become like a doctor or a lawyer and you're set on that and you really, really want it, then go to university because you need to go to university. But even if you're in university right now and you don't know what you want to do, realize you're not alone. I've been there myself, and you can actually still go and do your own thing. Like you don't even need to do a degree, and you're not stuck. Like that's how I felt when I was in that position. But anyway, guys, we're just going to wrap this up. Thank you very much for watching. If you reached the end of the podcast, thank you very much, and I'll see you guys later.
Peace.
Thanks for having me.
Stuck or shot to take you through the basics. Check out his channel if you're really trying to make it. He got what you need, from brushes to grease. He even got the videos that teach the techniques, what angles to brush, your connections is weak.